right, we are live, gentlemen. So for everybody watching, thank you for tuning in to our podcast yet again. This is the Western Canada Paintball Alliance. With us today, we have Redneck, aka Rick, who is the man behind some of the great games that we like to go out and play at Capture the Flag. So Rick, why don't you go ahead, say a little bit, introduce yourself here.
So, I am Rick. I've been working at Capture the Flag Paintball for roughly 5 years now, a little bit more. I'm the lead gun tech here, and I'm also responsible for setting up all the paintball scenarios and events such as shooting for a cause. Besides that, I'm an avid player, member of the SAS Woods Ball team. Yeah.
Okay. How long have you been with SAS?
I joined SAS back in late 2012 after my friend Mike, who a lot of you know, Mike Yurchak, he was always a good friend of mine. He told me about the team and what they're all about, and yeah, I knew it was the team for me. We were all based on respect for the sport, respect for the player, and have fun. It's all about just pure sportsmanship and love for the game.
Awesome.
So Rick, I gotta ask, what caused you to want to set up shooting for a cause?
Shooting for a cause, basically, back in the day, I had seen a Facebook post once about a cancer charity event that was held down in the U.S. there, and I just thought it was such an amazing idea. I was discussing it with some friends over a few drinks, and after that, I knew it was my calling, and I had to create it. Began the research and constantly on my computer till sometimes 4 o'clock in the morning, just emailing absolutely everybody and anybody that had anything to do with cancer charities or paintball and trying to get sponsorships. And then I met Carrie Stock out of the Helping Families Handle Cancer Society. Probably like one of the most nicest, caring people I've ever met in my whole entire life. And she explained to me what their charity does. They provide monetary aid to families whose children have cancer and can't afford to make ends meet. Probably about the most honorable charity that I could even think of. Like, I knew in my mind that I had to do this after meeting her, and that, I knew I had to be taught.
Okay. Just for those that are watching, I just want to give you a heads up. We do have a bit of lag between Rick and Dan and I.
Just wanting to do something really good for the community and paintball alike.
Well, I know, like, as a player, like, I came out and played the first event, and I was blown away by the scenarios, by the amount of players that turned out for the very first year. I mean, we had 100+ players.
Slow bush internet there. So.
Oh. Sorry, we're having a little bit of fun with the lag here. So compared to the first year of shooting for a cause and the most recent, what kind of changes have you seen, I guess, in the players and the type of people coming out?
The biggest thing that I've noticed growing at shooting for a cause is basically, I always see like the same following of people that always show up. You know, the SAS, the Project Mayhem, and everything, and more of those players show up from those teams every single year, and it's getting bigger that way. Plus, seeing new teams out like the Devil's Rejects, which made their first appearance there last year, and yeah, just more and more teams showing up. Just small woods ball teams, even renters that show up, and it's been growing so much that it seems to be getting a rather big following.
Okay. So following that train of thought, where do you see the shooting for a cause going in the future?
My hopes for the future is I want to turn it into a world-class scenario, which raises a minimum of 10 grand every season for the cause. It's a little bit far-fetched, but it is my goal. You know, hopefully we can attain that. Trying to work for more corporate to back up the funds that a paintball community raises.
Awesome.
I personally don't think it's too far fetched to dream that big. I mean, with the way it's grown over just 4 years, 3, 4 years, I have a feeling that one day you will reach that mark. And I mean, with SAS and all the other local teams backing you, I don't see why we can't get it to a 1,000 player event. I don't see why we can't get it to a 1,000 player event.
Yeah, for sure. And that is my biggest goal too, to bring it up to an event along the same lines of Living Legends with, you know, 1,000+ players every single season.
So for your scenarios that you come up with, because aside from shooting for a cause, you also did the Western Hustle that Dan and I were both at last weekend. Where do you kind of come up with the inspiration behind your games and your scenarios?
Um, a lot of my big games, like, you know, I'm posting a lot of big games, and it's just trying to, you know, figure out fun ideas that are going to keep people playing and stuff, and learning from past mistakes and what worked and what didn't work and everything like that. And it's, you know, just trying to, not even so much the Milsim event, more just like a fun paintball event that keeps people shooting paint and having fun, and, you know, bringing out something crazy and new, like, you know, my Juggernauts through the Generals and Juggernauts scenario, you know, a few other surprises that I have coming up for this year. But yeah, I mean, biggest inspiration for shooting for a cause, I gotta say, right this year, cancer hit really close to home. My cousin's daughter Violet, currently battling leukemia and being aided as well by the Helping Families Sentinel Cancer Society, which we support. Other than that, further inspiration, you know, like I said, it comes from those events like Living Legends and seeing people host events that big. And, you know, they're not even doing it for a cause. I'm not saying they're not great events or anything like that, but, you know, we do this for a great cause. So I think that one day, if we push hard enough, we can do it, right?
Now, coming up next Sunday, we have a 4v4 event with a cash prize, and part of the pot is being donated to shooting for a cause. Do you want to see more events like that happen where there is a cash prize for the winning team? And also, like, do you want to see those events push something towards a charity?
I totally agree with that. Like doing the like the 50-50 event, like I did up for my birthday there, where it's the 1v1 50-50, or like your 4v4 event. I think a lot of teams and stuff like that around the local area would be willing to, throw in, $20 at least in a player into a hat and, make it, something where the certain team can end up winning a decent, stack of cash for coming out and figuring out who's best on the field.
So outside of the paintball and stuff like shooting for a cause, or sorry, within paintball, outside of shooting for a cause, what would you say is your biggest accomplishment so far?
Just like getting really cool setup. And yeah, doing it for a cause, giving half. Say other than spending years and years teching guns, and let's say I've probably learned almost every damn gun on the planet. I would say becoming part of the SAS Woodsball team is probably my biggest. I'd say they're my biggest achievement to date. Like joining the team, the help and support they give me throughout shooting for a cause, throughout all my events is undeniable. Shooting for a cause literally not exist without the SAS.
I have noticed the first year I was an outsider. I wasn't a member of SAS. I was with a different team, and the support that SAS just throws at us, the players within the team, within the family, but also at events that are operated by members of the team. It's unparalleled. Like there's no other team out there who supports their own the way SAS does, and that to me is something that really makes them stand out
Yeah,
over a lot of the other teams.
So
yeah.
speaking
There's a
of that,
lot of very, very good teams out there. Like,
sorry, go ahead, man.
no, I was gonna say there's a lot of very good teams out there. Like, I gotta hand it to, Project Mayhem and in shooting for a cause this year. Like, uh, difference in the last 2 years is like I've seen almost perfect sportsmanship on that field from both sides this this time around for shooting for a cause 3, and it was just incredible to see that.
All right, sorry about cutting you off there. So just like speaking of SAS and stuff, as people can see on the screen, you have the call sign of Redneck. Whereabouts did that come from?
Yeah. Well, um, my original call sign was Havoc, which came from my old days of being in a metal band there. But and I kind of stuck with that for the first while. But I live out in the country. I do redneck things like build dune buggies and crash dune buggies. And, I go hiking and fishing and cutting up deer and I don't know, just general country fun. I come by redneck rather honestly. It's suiting.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing at all. Rick, I have to ask, having played so many of your
Yeah, and
events,
like
I
all my
think
team knows, I'm a wee bit on the crazy side as well.
I have to ask Rick, what is your ideal event? Like I've played probably about 6 or 7 of your events over the last 2 years, probably around the number of 12 and 4. What do you want to see in your ideal event? Like what is the must-have event? What would be perfect?
My ideal event is personally, especially for events like shooting for a cause, I would like to see a lot more endorsement from paintball celebrities. I'm not going to go into throwing out names or anything like that, but I've pretty much done everything short of on my knees and begging some of them to come out here and see the event. Even just to help more promote the cause. People like that can really help further that. But also another thing I'd like to see is vendors on the field, etc. But I mean, I base my events being around a lot of players, and some of them, being here in southern Alberta, we get the threats of bad weather and stuff like that, so it kind of diminishes potential players and stuff. But other than that, my ideal situation is just seeing players out there with perfect sportsmanship. Like we want to do these events for fun. Just seeing people out there, calling their hits, playing a full fun day of scenario paintball with no drama, etc. is my ideal event.
I know last May long we decided to play a fun day in about 2 feet worth of snow to begin with. That over the course of the day turned into about 6 inches of water and rain. Is it accurate that we could call you the weatherman, that you jinx your events if you put out too much information?
He's got to think on that one.
Jinx your event if you put out too much information.
Yeah, and I think that's why I've been withholding a lot of information about shooting for a cause. There's a lot of stuff I could be posting, but don't, because it seems like every time I fully disclose everything that's happening in the event, and I put so much effort into it and make sure everybody's all in the know and all amped about it, we get shit on for weather, excuse my language. But it's inevitable here. And then you look at it from May long, I didn't give anybody any hints about what was going on for scenario-wise. And it was 20 degrees.
Yeah, no, the weather was definitely great out at the last event here. Like I said, I had a blast. I know Dan had a blast.
I'm still sore, by the way.
Yeah, thanks for not making me be the VIP in that first game.
I was going to say from being VIP or the wedding.
So, what with the whole, if you give too much info, we get bad weather, and Dan's comment of, does that make you the weatherman? Does that mean we can change your call sign?
I don't know. I think I come by redneck a little more, honestly.
Mother Nature just doesn't like him, I guess.
Maybe it'd be the bad weather man. If anything, it'd be the bad weather man.
So you were mentioning that you've fixed or just about any kind of paintball marker that's out there right now. Out of all the markers that you've had the, we'll say, pleasure of dealing with, what would you say is one of your favorites and why?
I would say my favorites to work on are like the more high-end speedball guns and stuff, because it's more interesting than Tippmans. I mean, my job here as gun tech, I have just over 1,200 Tippmans that I deal with, rental markers, and I have to maintain all those guns every single year. And so, seeing the inside of a Tippman is just kind of gets a little same old story every once in a while. Every once in a while I get a nice high-end speedball gun in here. Had the best reaction ever. I had somebody who was like a $1,400 machine Vanquish, and I had the thing, wasn't working for Buddy, and so I had the whole thing ripped apart into parts all over my desk, and Buddy was like, "Oh, you look like you're pretty good at this. How many of these types of guns have you fixed?" Well, honestly, Bud, this is my first, but still had her shooting 280 consistent though, so
Have you run into too many markers that you can't fix? Like a certain Tipex that we know about?
I did have a problem with Lambo's Tipex there. One of the biggest problems is life giving me too much to handle with certain things I got going on. But yeah, that one there, like it was strange. Like I replaced every single seal throughout all the valves, everything like that, and no matter what, you just wanted to throw at that one odd shot at 340 plus feet per second. And, other than that, not really too much. I'm still gotta say learning the vintage guns like autocockers and that sort of stuff. But
Now, I gotta ask, what do you want to see happen in Western Canada with the industry? Do you want to see small companies pop up? Do you want to see fields actually, try and make something better of events? Do you want to see teams join together for big events? What would you like to see happen?
um, I would really like to see fields starting to work more together. I mean, they got to realize that we're not really in competition against each other. We're more in competition with like going go-karting or, going camping or, other outdoor events like that, specifically paintball, know, small companies always trying to compete against each other in the paintball industry, which is such a small niche sport. We need to be working together to get more people involved and newer players coming out.
Since you've gotten started in the whole paintball industry, um, what kind of things have you seen change?
Um, Biggest things I've seen change, I started here about 5 years ago. Biggest thing I noticed was the older paintball companies, other companies, example Titman, amongst many others, constantly being bought up by bigger companies and doing exclusive deals with other companies, i.e., the GI Titman exclusive deal with Bad Lad, in which we've seen prices basically skyrocket. I think we based it out to about a 16% price increase for parts where we used to go directly to Titman. Now we have to increase, the amount that we have to pay for our parts and et cetera for our guns. And basically, I find it making the sport a lot less affordable for your everyday new players. Whereas, prices go up, we got to raise prices, et cetera. Um, I I just see it leading to less and less players continuing on to play the sport because of uh, of that price trend, basically.
GI buying out a lot of companies definitely was a bit of a surprise to a lot of players, myself included. I have to agree with Rick on that. As soon as the deal went down, we did see price increases across the board, and I know a lot of guys have said, I have to get out of it because I can't afford it anymore.
Yeah.
Um, is there anything you think the players can do to basically tell the market, you need to correct yourself?
I mean, big companies are big money and stuff like that, and social media in ways we can, bring it out. And, you always seem to get that, bad economy kind of stuff. And, which doesn't really work, because if they make it, affordable within their certain amount of range, I mean, more people would be playing, which would in turn help out the economy, and et cetera, et cetera. But it's, the small everyday player, it doesn't really seem like there's too much you can do really to influence big money like that.
Any more questions, Dave?
I'm just going through the list here that I've got, seeing which ones I can find that we haven't already asked.
I think we've already asked all of the ones that we sent them.
I think so. Now we're gonna have to hit him with the unprepared questions.
Well, those of you watching live, does anyone have any questions for Rick? Does anyone have questions for us?
No, not quite.
So you had mentioned that you've got more games planned. Anything that you're willing to let a little bit of information slip out on? He's deep in thought.
There's a big lag.
Yeah, it's getting worse.
Well, other than my shooting for a cause games, which other than the third scenario is going to be pretty par for the course, Juggernauts and the but basically well, I see a few you guys didn't ask me.
Well, feel free to answer any of them. My list is currently sitting on my cell phone, which is very difficult for me to follow on.
Yeah, we kind of went out of order of what I've got here.
Yeah, no worries. But yeah, there was one that was asked, what's it like coming to your, or seeing your dream come to fruition, when it comes to shooting for a cause. Creating shooting for a cause, it fills my heart with so much joy. It's indescribable. And to get the same passion from most of the players who attend it, I gotta say it makes me feel accomplished, and I pride myself big time on the fact that I was able to come up with this event that does something for such a great cause.
We've got a couple of comments on the Facebook feed here. It looks like your friend Heather
Yeah.
and my wife Serena are both in favor of a dunk tank at Shooting for a Cause 4. What would it take to get that to happen and to get you in that seat?
Uh, I guess we'd have to see about building some dunk tank, but I'm sure Redneck Rick could probably rig something together.
All you need is a trough there, Rick. We'll just toss you in there.
Yeah. We could use our horse trough. We totally could.
So with Shooting for a Cause, you mentioned how you want to see it get even bigger, see more teams come out.
I don't think it's deep enough.
You mentioned you want to see some vendors come out. As players and just those involved in the paintball community, what could we do to try and help make that happen?
Basically, like, I'm taking any volunteers. Like, I run this for non-for-profit. 99% of it, other than the game day, I do all in my free time. Where I don't, I'm a single parent and I don't get paid for any of the work I put into shooting for a cause. So if anybody knows, that backdoor person that they could talk to in the industry and stuff like that, that could help, get a sponsor and contribute to shooting for a cause, we'd be totally more than grateful to have the help and support of our players being willing to pitch in and help out with the event.
I know we do have a really big group of players who are part of the organization committee. We pitch ideas, we all brainstorm, we approach companies about sponsoring the event. I know this year something that's brand new is a is a GoFundMe campaign. Am I accurate in that one?
Yeah, and I've been asked a lot by players in the past that, just from random places in the world and stuff, saying that they absolutely fell in love with our idea and was wondering if there's a way we could contribute. And previously we didn't really have a way for that, but now with the GoFundMe account that I set up, people, if they would like to contribute and throw a few dollars towards the Helping Families Handle Cancer Society in the name of, there's that way there. I'm sure Dan and Dave here can link GoFundMe page on their Facebook page there.
Most definitely.
Yeah, I'm definitely hoping people will find it in their hearts to throw a few bucks towards the cause and help make this year better than ever.
I know this year I've decided to become a sponsor of the event, just in like a gifting item, and it's something that has been very special to me over the last couple years, 5-6 years, that I'm donating for auction. I know we are seeing a lot of players stepping forward, who are working somewhere. They've gone to their businesses and said, this is an event that I attend. What can we do? And just the outpouring of support so far this year has just been absolutely incredible. What's your thoughts on the amount of support that we've seen grow from year one to now?
The amount of support is just incredible with how many vendors and everything like that are stepping up to throw in prizes. The one thing I'd like to touch on with them is that, the amount of just almost insane at some points, whereas times we'd almost like to see a donation made directly to the Helping Families Handle Cap from some of the larger businesses and stuff, which, we still get an incredible amount of prizes, but just seeing more of that would be really cool. But I gotta say, there's sponsors out there like Tom from Ripple Industries out of Ontario there. From day one, that guy has been the absolute utmost biggest prize sponsor shooting for a cause could ever ask for. Like, that guy's just so incredible. Whenever I ask him for prizes, he's like, yeah, I'm on it, and I'm going to send you a whole bunch of stuff. And yeah, he always does. Oh, never fails to amaze me with what that guy sends out.
He's
Always
coming
great to have people
himself
like
this
that.
year, isn't he?
Yeah, he's flying out here. Apparently, he has a friend in the Calgary area he's going to be staying with. But when I emailed him about being a prize sponsor this year, he almost instantly wrote me back and said that he's more than happy to donate again, and that he has some extra time because he shut down his storefront. Now he's just basically online sales. So I'd like to fly out and do some photography for the event, and that's just such an honor to have my today biggest prize sponsor actually attending. It would be really cool to meet him.
That'll be awesome.
I'm
So, out of the 3 previous shooting for a causes that have taken place, um, what would you say is your biggest joy that you've seen come out of that? Like, what memory sticks out in your mind as just being like the pinnacle of the past shooting for a causes?
Well, biggest thing I gotta say with running shooting for a cause is, seeing the whole local paintball community coming out to support such an amazing cause, and knowing, fully knowing that the money we raise goes to people who need it. Other than that, like on the field, I absolutely love being ref. Just being in the middle of all the warfare and all the intense firefights. And I gotta say, one of the best memories I ever had was we don't really see too much renters for shooting for a cause. And I was walking through the back bush, and I seen this 12-year-old little blonde girl with her level 3 rental marker, 98 custom with an extended barrel. And she's got a whole wall of probably roughly 20 speedballers encroaching up on her. And I go up behind this little girl, and I tap her on the back, and I'm like, "Hey, are you okay?" And she looks up at me with these big, huge saucer eyes, and "This is awesome!" Okay, you have fun. You have fun. Yeah, truly awesome time.
Yeah, there's nothing better than coming across the kids that have been out maybe once or twice before. I know at Western Hustle, Dan and I had about 3 or 4 of them running with us, and it lasted maybe 5-10 minutes before they figured we were moving too slow for them, and they just took up on us.
Yeah, they left us in the dust. They're like, we're out of here. We're actually gonna go where the
Yeah.
action is.
So, for anybody watching, if you know anybody who
last
isn't into
shooting
this as regularly, definitely bring them out, because Rick's events are definitely something to behold.
Yeah, and I pride myself on them being open for all skill levels of players, something that renters and pros alike can benefit from and have a super fun day of paintball.
I don't think any of us could call ourselves pros. I mean, we're all weekend warriors. Some of us, like Dave, have been playing for more than a decade or two.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, we do it for the love of it. Like none of us are out there
Yeah.
to get famous. That's the main thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, you mentioned you've been at Capture the Flag for about the last
Yeah,
5 years,
definitely
I
consider
believe.
myself a pro. I've been playing for about 5 years total.
I guess that answers my question. I was going to ask how long.
Yeah. Yeah, I started here in March of 2012. Began playing paintball shortly. Yeah, I started playing paintball shortly thereafter. Basically, I tried it once before when I was about 10 years old, and I was about as spent. But then I got my job out here, started attacking guns. I'm like, damn, this fun, I got to get in there and give it a try. And I'm definitely no pro, but I like to think I can hold my own on the field.
Well, I saw you playing at your birthday party there, and you definitely weren't an easy kill for the other guys in that one-on-one competition. Um, so, how about could you tell us a little bit more about Capture the Flag and kind of what it is you do out there?
No. uh, so, uh, Capture the Flag has been in operation since 1981. We've got 116 acres of property in the beautiful Wipers Valley with 23 different woods ball courses. We're open all year round too, like even in the winter, we have white coveralls and the winter paint so that people can play no matter what kind of weather comes our way. Um, Harry, yeah, like I was saying, got this place in the 1980s, shortly after retiring from the CFL. Started it out as a firewood chimney cleaning business, and then him and some of his former CFL buddies got together and started shooting each other with paintballs, and now we're here today with about 1,200 rental markers, and yeah, we pride ourselves on being a family-friendly field, though, where people can play privately without having to be rushed by other veteran players, and having to, so everybody can come out and have a fun time and play paintball without playing above their skill level, basically. My main job here is I am the lead gun tech. Like I said, over 1,200 rental markers that I have to maintain constantly. Other than that, I maintain the compressor systems. We have just under 1 million cubic inches of air. Yeah, on the side, I organize shooting for a cause in the Western Hustle and other events alike. I also do several Airsoft events that we host here every year as well.
Sounds like you keep yourself pretty busy out there.
Yeah, it's a constant game of maintenance, being out here in this industry and woods ball fields and stuff. Um, One of the questions I wanted to touch on that you guys didn't mention was what is your idea of growing the sport? Some that came up this year through meeting with GI out in Ontario there was low impact paintball. Now, Pittman and GOG have come up with uh, full out paintball guns that shoot 50 caliber paintballs. You have 400 rounds out of a 13 cubic inch tank. And, seeing something like this, being a single parent of a 9-year-old boy, he obviously sees me playing paintball and wants to be just like dad. I think this low impact paintball is an amazing way to get children into the sport without scaring them away from it after taking their first hit from a gun at 202nd. They can play all day, ages 6, 7, and up, and have a blast on the field with all sorts of amazing battle stories. And instead of going home crying because they got hit by a full-out paintball at 280, they have all this great time, playing low impact, and then when they're ready for full-on paintball, then they can move up in the sport, right? I think it's going to grow the sport where we're going to see a whole generation of new upcoming paintballers, my son included. So.
Yeah, I know my son, he's in the same age range as yours, and he's been bugging me as much as possible to get out on a paintball field with me. I know Dan's met him. He wants to play paintball with Dan, and uh, the low impact is definitely something that he wants to try. And it's something I, as his dad, want him to try before he, you know, goes out and tries with, the markers that I run with, or, those that I play with. Um, so yeah, I know first chance I get, like school's almost out, I've told him um, once school's done, if his grades are good, we'll set something up. So I'll definitely be contacting you and come out there with a few of his friends. We'll have to see about getting your boy out there with them as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. That would be awesome. My son Zachary, he likes to troll all the low impact groups here and play with them. Of course, he gets quite a bit of practice growing up on a paintball field.
Does that about cover it question-wise for you there, Rick?
Yeah, pretty much there.
Are there any more?
What do you guys think?
Any more questions from the live audience there, Dave?
In our live feed, all we've got is Heather saying she's definitely going to have to bring her kids out to play some low impact out at Shooting for a Cause. They're bringing their 7-year-old, and he's already interested in playing. And then we've got Serena also saying that how my son is, when he gets out there, going to want to shoot everybody in the butt.
Yeah, I could totally see him doing that.
So, Rick, what's your thought on possibly having some low impact
one
stuff
thing
going
I got to
on
bring
the
up to Heather and Serena is that
I love that lag. It's horrible.
Well, like I was just going on about there, talking to Heather and Serena, August 5th, which is the day before Shooting for a Cause. It's my son's 10th birthday, and so I'm definitely encouraging you to bring your kid before Shooting for a Cause. We're going to do some birthday impact paintball match there.
That'll be a lot of fun.
That'll be a blast. So I think we've gone through the list of questions that I sent you there, Rick, unless there's anything else you wanted to mention.
Yeah, for sure. And of course, like every year, I'm probably going to have 100 burgers.
Have you ever considered having food trucks out there with the number of players that show up?
I got to throw out again, a huge thank you to SAS Woodsball, Project Mayhem, and Ripple Industries for being so amazing. We have before, and we've had food truck guys come out. The only problem is that we offer free hot dogs all day, and so trying to convince the parents to spend $4 or $5 on a burger when their kid could just eat a hot dog for free is pretty hard to sell.
Understandable. I think that covers about all the questions I had. How about you there, Dan?
Yeah, I'm good. I know Rick like the back of my hand. He's that bad pimple that just won't go away. I've known him for the last 4 years, and his events just keep getting better and better. And I'm definitely looking forward to Shooting for a Cause this year.
Shooting for a Cause, the first one, was the absolute first anything like that I've ever done in my whole life. Shooting for a Cause 1, I think, was a total mess.
No, Shooting for a Cause 1 wasn't a mess at all. It was a lot of fun. I know we had a lot of the Alberta field owners were there. We had the Rampage guys there. Skyline Nation was there, which was really great to see. And they keep coming out to your events, so they keep supporting you. And I definitely think we're going to see this event just take off.
Yeah, for sure. And I definitely I can feel myself that it's getting better as I'm learning more, and yeah, figuring more things out each event by each event as they go. So
Well, as has just been mentioned in the comments, I definitely can't complain about shooting for a cause number one. It's actually where I had the privilege of meeting the woman who became my wife. So, keep going, Rick. You're doing good things for people,
yeah,
even off the paintball field.
thanks guys. Yeah, I just learned this year that you and Serena met there. That's I gotta say a bit of an honor that I can say that some I did was responsible for getting two of my friends married. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. If we can't call you weatherman, we'll at least call you matchmaker.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I bugged Lambo for months and months and months until he finally put a ring on Diana's finger. So maybe I.
All right. Well, I think that about covers the
Anyways,
time that
guys,
we've
I
got
should.
here, folks.
Yeah.
Rick, did you have anything else you wanted to
Yeah,
finish
I'm
off
gonna
with?
go find a cold beer and chill out for the evening. We got. No, just thanks everybody for listening, and thank you all for supporting the Shooting for a Cause event and the charity that we support through it. And yeah, I thank all you guys.
Yeah, it's
All right.
definitely fun.
All right. Well, again, Rick, just want to say thanks for all the work that you've put into the games out at
Yeah,
Capture
for
the
sure.
Flag, and uh, I know I always have a great time going out there. Um, Dan, anything to finish off?
No, just if you're playing this weekend, play safe, play with honor, and have fun. That's all that matters.
All right. Well, until the next time, ladies and gentlemen, we'll catch you on the field.
And wear protection.